My F59 son, M34, is the one responsible for my granddaughter's F1 death. I have no idea how to deal with this and move on with my family. Edit. Thanks for all the comments. To clarify, my granddaughter was compromised. She had already a condition that rendered it impossible for her to get her shots. Which I'd why my daughter was so careful and didn't expose her baby to more than park air and took heavy precautions if they had to go to closed spaces with her. This is not about his daughter but his niece. I have 2 kids. My daughter's daughter passed due to my son's stupidity. My son Andrew marries Alexis 8 years ago. I am by no means a monster-in-law. Never have been. But Alexis is a nightmare. She is anti-science pro-Facebook science. She is a WE fully entitled and is sinking all their savings in some MLM scheme. And as such, they decided not to vaccinate their kids. They have a son, M10, and a daughter, F6. A month ago my daughter, Jenny, came over with her baby to pick up some of her old things. She decided to stay for coffee and cake. Andrew and Alexis moved right across from us after the lockdown lifted. My husband and I assume it's because they were planning on using us as free childcare. Anyway, as Jenny was over, Alexis rang the doorbell. Before I could even say hello, her kids came spilling in. They are nice kids, somewhat bratty, but they do have a heart of gold. I love them so much. But because OD them not being vaccinated, I don't like having them around the same time as babies. I tried to keep things calm, but the kids had run upstairs to where Jenny's baby was sleeping and were cuddling with her. I managed to get them to come down, but they had be with the baby for a few minutes. Fast forward a few days. Jenny calls me in tears telling me her and her fiancé are in the hospital because their baby had a high fever and couldn't breathe properly. My husband and I hurried there. Then we spent the most excruciating 17 hours in the hospital that sadly ended with my granddaughter passing away. She had apparently caught whooping cough and her little lungs couldn't handle it. My daughter is absolutely destroyed. I had a stinging suspicion and called my son. I asked him if his kids had been sick. He said that they had a nasty cough and a little fever but that they had managed. I don't know what happened. I lost it. I just started breathing heavy and crying hard and couldn't say much more but to say that his niece died because of him. He had been calling me and his sister. And we haven't picked up. He has come over multiple times and I have not opened. I tried to calm down and tell myself that it's probabe that she caught it from someone else. Only that my daughter hadn't taken out granddaughter to places with kids for almost a month. Maybe at a supermarket or in a walk. But my husband pointed out that it was likelier she caught it trough close contact. And it is possible to catch it outside. But not as likely. I feel so mad, so angry. I don't know what to do. I live my other grandkids. And I feel like they are gonna suffer with them as parents. How do we go forward? Jenny Biss never gonna forgive Andrew. And I don't know if I can. TLDR. My son didn't vaccinate his kids. They gave my daughter's daughter whooping cough. My granddaughter died as a direct result of this. I don't know how to proceed in life.
I am so sorry for your loss. This is heartbreaking. I don't believe any children should be around babies vaccinated or not. Especially when they have just gotten over a sickness. Stay away few weeks to make sure.
Me too. That's why I hadn't properly hosted a big get-together because obviously my granddaughter was not old enough to get her own vaccines. But that's also the reason Jenny didn't take her to daycare or mommy and me groups.
I have no idea either. I am so sorry this happened. I wish you and your daughter a lot of strength.
I'm so sorry for your family's loss. The chances are obviously high that your son's unvaccinated children passed this to your granddaughter. But to be frank, even if there was a 1% chance, you'd still never get that little worm of an idea out of your head. It's always human nature to, what if? I've worked healthcare, and I despise those who don't vaccinate for these selfish reasons. I don't think I could let my child back into my life easily after this, not without some time, therapy, and proof they vaccinated themselves and their kids as penitence to protect any other vulnerable people. I have no answers. I'm so sorry.
Above Reddit pay grade. You should all seek grief counseling. Very sorry for your loss.
They knowingly endangered an infant, who then sadly passed away. This is why we vaccinate, to protect the vulnerable, and babies are very, very vulnerable. What they did is inexcusable, and I know I personally couldn't have any kind of relationship with someone responsible for the very preventable death of a baby. You are under no obligation to forgive them or have anything to do with them further.
For anyone that says it was their beliefs, and they didn't really you are wrong. Their ignorance killed that child. Full is the same to me as someone stumbling who thinks, I'm safe enough to drive. I know better than people who say driving is bad. I believe I can drive, in fact I've done it before, and seen other people do it, so it's clearly okay. And then they go on to people in an accident. That driver is responsible for being negligent and thinking they know more than anyone or the same. Just because they are dumb doesn't excuse their behavior, any more than being dumb excuses a driver. We are responsible for our poor choices, especially when those poor choices result in the death of someone else.
This is why people who don't vaccinate their kids should go live in the forest. Fine. Reject modern medicine but stay away from society. We shouldn't put babies at risk just because some people are selfish and ignorant.
This is heartbreaking.
I am heartbroken for you and so very sorry for your tragic son and Dill have been irresponsible beyond belief, and I don't blame you one bit for how your daughter had cancer when she was 1 year old and she was unable to have the usual vaccinations until she was given the all clear at 4 years old. During this time I had to be super careful, for her sake and that of other babies and children. It's shocking how many people didn't get that, usually other parents. I had people guilting me when I kept her from parties. Think you just need to be there 110% for your daughter right now. Concentrate on her. Further down the line there may be reconciliation between her and her brother, but I don't hold out much hope. She may come to understand if you want to see your son's children, as ultimately it wasn't their fault. I definitely look to receiving help with this from a professional. Again, I'm sorry, Op.
I think it also doesn't really matter if the unvaccinated children actually gave it to the baby or not. Either way, the son knew his kids were sick and still brought them over to grandma's and still let them go upstairs with the baby. Parents are responsible for teaching them that when they are sick they need to stay away from others. So regardless, he still put his kids in a position to spread their cough to the baby.
Don't let your son off the hook or you're going to lose your daughter too.
And not be allowed to seek treatment from the corrupt medical system they're afraid of. Save the very limited hospital beds for people who believe in doctors.
The sister will never forgive her brother and Sil for this, I guarantee you that. Op might in the future, but the relationship with her kids is dead. He's lucky his sister and her fiancé haven't killed him by now. Be very lucky if his parents will ever talk to him again in his lifetime. He better hope his friends, neighbors, co-workers, and the rest of his family don't find out or face their wrath. Needs to focus on her daughter and therapy and have space from the idiots so she can heal. I would never allow the harpy, DIL, back in your house or presence again after this. She would be very wise to shut up and rethink her beliefs if she values her family at all. I have a feeling her husband going to be leaving her soon after this.
Boosting this. People who don't vaccinate yet still choose to participate in society do so knowing they're putting others at risk. They just don't care because they usually don't see the aftershock of it. This time, they did. Your son's choices directly resulted in this, and he needs to face up to that and either say, I don't care, and be alienated, or get his forking children vaccinated.
Yup. There is no coming back from this. Sister will never forgive this and the family will be divided forever. I am sorry for your loss, Op. I don't have advice because I don't think I could ever forgive my son for this. Your other grandkids are innocent, but that doesn't negate that they were the contagion point, and because of that, it will be hard to separate them from having a hand in killing your other granddaughter. Go to therapy, be there for your daughter, and let everyone you know what happens so others don't share the same horrible fate as your poor granddaughter. Sil and son deserve to be named, shamed, and shunned for this.
That's what I'm saying. Why go out if your kids are sick? Didn't anyone learn anything in the pandemic? Stay home if you're sick and wait until you're better.
100%. Your son is going to have to accept the consequences of his negligence, and so does Alexis.
I wouldn't be so quick to put this all on the Dill. Those kids have 2 parents and either one of them could have had them vaccinated. The son is equally responsible. We don't know what the son has to say. Probably gaslighting. I doubt he's leaving anyone.
As it is, not vaccinating your kids is legal.
I'm also hanging on to the top comment. If you are an adult and haven't received a Tdap booster since turning 11, go get one. They become less effective over time, and even if you catch whooping cough and have milder symptoms since you were boosted many years ago, you can still spread the disease to infants because it is highly contagious. Most infants infected with whooping cough catch the disease from older family members or caregivers, not other children, since children are typically recently you're planning to spend time around infants under 1 year of age. It's recommended that you get boosted. Parents, grandparents, older siblings, daycare providers, etc. should get boosted before spending significant time around the always call an ambulance if your child is struggling to breathe or if their lips start to turn blue.
My wife has a compromised immune system. She got her vaccines when she was young but wasn't able to get most boosters. In her late 20s she caught whooping cough, and it was terrifying. She broke multiple ribs from coughing so hard. She could barely sleep because she would wake up in the middle of the night gasping for air. This went on for 3 months. Whooping cough is also known as the 100-day cough. Meanwhile, I'm fully vaccinated and didn't leave her side, and I never got it. When she got it, there was a rash of unvaccinated children who got it in another part of the town. Get vaccinated. You don't know who you come in contact with.
How is this not an immediate no-contact situation?
Also, get your titters checked. It's easy. Just tell your doctor, hey, can I get my titters checked? And they'll schedule a blood test. Every once in a while. Vaccines don't take or they wear off sooner than expected. I got all my MMR shots as a kid like you're supposed to, but when I got my titters checked as an adult, my measles immunity wasn't there even though the other two were. I had to get another shot. I'm sure glad I found that out via getting a titer rather than via getting an absurdly contagious disease that I thought I was immune to.
It did blow my mind when I had kids and started reading up on vaccines, schedules, efficacy, etc. Just how many of them do wear off over time. I hadn't been made aware or offered any boosters till I became pregnant. So how many adults are walking about potentially unprotected and therefore able to spread it? Why the heavy push on kids and not on getting adults topped up? I don't get it.